everyone. Hope you all are doing well. And we're back with another session with Dr. Anu Sidhu, who is a researcher, licensed and certified AP chemistry teacher. In the last session, Dr. Anu educated us about ion, atomic number, and mass number. And today we are going to continue the discussion on the subject of chemical foundation of elements and ions. So, Dr. Sidhu, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm so excited to be with you today.
So we are. Dr. Sidhu, let's start with what are isotopes?
Yeah, so today's topic, I wanted to start with isotopes. First of all, I want my viewers to have a very, very smiling face like this so that they can start this session with a lot of enthusiasm. This is a very, very interesting concept about isotopes. So what are isotopes? Isotopes are the atoms of the same element, which have same atomic number, but they have different mass number. In other words, we can say that these are the atoms of the same element, which are having same atomic number, but they differ in the number of protons. And there's a lot of uses for the isotopes. Like, for example, in United States, there was one crime happened in the eastern United States. That man was hit on the head and he lost his memory, like he went into amnesia. And his ID was also stolen. So authorities had no idea where he is from, whether he's from the local region or he's from the another region of the United States. So is there any way to find out his whereabouts? The answer is yes. It is because of the isotopic studies. So there is a scientist with the name of James Elhinger. He is in University of Utah in Lake City. So his colleagues, they worked on the isotopic labeling part of the hair. So the studies is that there is the concentration of hydrogen and oxygen isotopes in the water samples. And the hydrogen and oxygen samples, the isotopes are in the hair of the person as well. So what their colleagues did, they collected the samples of hair from various shops, the barber shops, from 65 cities in 18 states. And they were able to find the isotopic concentrations of the hair of that person. No doubt, it is not that we are not able to find out the exact location of that person, but at least we can have the estimate of the region where that person is living, so that we can display his picture on the TV, and we are able to get an idea about his family. So it is because of the isotopic concentrations of hydrogen and oxygen in the hair. It is interesting, to know that the isotopes are able to give a lot of information. Interesting information. And isotope, like same is like isotope of carbon 40. It is used to know the age of the old rocks and trees. So I feel the studies of isotopes is a very, very interesting science, very interesting topic it is. So once the students really need to know what isotope is basically. So there are all the elements, they have isotopes. They are present in the form of isotopes.
I guess we have to stay away from all kind of crimes for this.
Yes.
Dr. Sidhu, please introduce us to the periodic table.
Yeah, so periodic table, why we need a periodic table in chemistry? Before that, we need to know that we need to classify the elements. But then what is the need of classifying the elements? Just to make these studies easier, to study the properties of elements in a better way, we need to classify the elements. It is same like, when you go to the grocery store or to a big mall, like, or to CVS or Walgreens, you will see that the stuff is properly arranged there, right? So like cereals are in one row and the detergents are in one row, right? So similarly, we need to have the proper arrangement of the elements in the form of a table. So that is known as the periodic table. So periodic table is used to classify the elements. Then, but what is the basis for that? So it is the arrangement of elements in increasing order of their atomic number. And in the previous session, I told that what is meant by atomic number. It is the number of protons which are present inside the nucleus of an atom. So the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic number. So that is known as the periodic table. And there is a history behind this, how this periodic table is formed. So the first scientist was Daubernier. He classified the elements in the form of 3, and that is known as the Daubernier triad. And he found that the center element, its mass is the average of the atomic masses of these two elements, right? So he actually classified the elements on the basis of atomic masses. It was discarded, and later on, another scientist was Newland. So he classified the element again on the basis of atomic masses, and he found that the properties of the 8th element is same as the property of the first element. So it means the properties of the element, it repeated after the 8th element. So it was known as the Newland law of octave. Just like the musical notes, we have sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, and then again sa. So it is the musical tones after 8, it was getting repeated. So the properties were repeated. But what was the reason for that? Newland was not able to explain that. So that's why it was discarded. And last but not the least, it was Mendeleev. Mendeleev also classified the elements on the basis of increasing atomic numbers. And by that time, there were 63 elements which were present, which were known. So he arranged the elements in the form of groups and periods. So there were 7 periods and there are 18 groups. So groups which are known as the vertical columns, like top to bottom. That is known as the groups. Groups are also called family, and periods are the horizontal rows, left to right. So left to right, horizontal rows are called periods, and top to bottom, these are the vertical columns, which is called groups and families. So all these elements are classified in this periodic table. We will go into more detail about the periodic table. It is very, very interesting. I always tell my students that periodic table is just like the world map. It's just like a world map. If you know how to read the world map, you are able to travel this whole world easily. Similarly, if you know how to read and how to understand the periodic table, believe me, it's so easy to learn about the properties of all the elements, their reactions, their chemical changes, physical changes. So it's very important to know, to understand the periodic table.
Chemistry is indeed a very fascinating subject.
Yes.
So let's move forward with any questions for our viewers today.
Yes, I have one very interesting question, but before that, I have a very interesting joke. So there are 2 isotopes of helium. Like today, we talked about isotopes, right? So 2 isotopes of helium, they met after a long time. You know what they said to each other? They said, he, because the symbol of helium is He. So they laughed together. Yeah. Okay. So coming to very interesting question. My question to my viewers is that
So yes, yes.
yeah. So my question to my viewers is what alphabet in the English letter, like what English letter is there by which no element name is starts? Like, for example, from A to Z, you will find all the letters, the elements they start their name with. So which is that English letter by which we are not having any symbol for our chemical element? I hope my viewers are able to research and find this answer.
That's an interesting one. Thank you, Dr. Sidhu, for your time and for your this interesting knowledge that you shared with us. That's all for today. Hope everybody enjoyed the session and got benefit from it as well. Please like and subscribe to Dr. Sidhu's Academy on YouTube. This is Komal from Outline Media signing off.